Good morning, everybody. My name is Chrissy and I live here in Australia. And today I'm going to be giving you a prediction reading for the 30th of March. Now, first off, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. I do regular prediction readings. And of course, always hit those like buttons if you're enjoying my videos. So I'll just close my eyes and we'll just get started. I guess the question is, why are people ignoring this? This is a question that a lot of us have been asking around the globe, especially when it comes to the wake people, the people that are awake. They can't understand or perceive in their mind why people aren't getting this. Now, to us, it's very logical, but we have to remember how good the psychosis works. It takes people straight back into that narrative. And honestly, I have found that the most overwhelming part of this whole experience is the mass psychosis, and the way they have vilified people and divided society. And I know out there you guys have been commenting, my subscribers have been commenting lately about the incredible divisions that have gone on in your society. And like I said, that's not just around the unjabbed. We know it started as that, but I did say, I think it was last year, there'd be a lot of subdivisions, and this is what's happening now. You've got people who are fighting back because they don't want those third or fourth boosters. You've got people fighting back because they've had an adverse reaction. You've got people fighting back because they simply don't want to be told what to do anymore. They think that 2 to 3 jabs is enough, and they're not sure how far this is going to keep going. There's also people who are being really vilified in their jobs when they've had to go back to their jobs when they've got COVID. I've heard that this is going on with a lot of nurses. You're allowed to go back even if you've got COVID, but the unjabbed aren't allowed to work. I think that's in the UK. It's some ridiculous concept anyway. And this is what's kind of going on. This is just becoming like so exhausting to fight against the mass psychosis. Now, I'm just going to see what kind of comes through, because that's an area that I've been really struggling with lately, is how deep it takes them into their own thought processes of they can't think outside the square at all. I'm just going to see what comes through as well. Now, what they're saying is, like, the mass psychosis does work like that flock of sheep. So when you get sheep that are just grazing and they're just chilled and they're just sitting there, they're fine because they're just concentrating on what they're doing. But when you bring in the cattle dogs and they start to nip at the heels or jump on the backs or nip at the heels, this is what creates movement. Now, this is the analogy that they're kind of giving me today, is that when you're nipping at them and you're, like I said, it's like planting seeds as well, but when you're giving little snippets of information, it starts to sort of bring them together as well. So it starts to sort of highlight things to them, so they start to move in a different direction. If you think of a cattle dog, it can control a flock of sheep so easily just by its vibration and barking and walking around the sheep. Living here in Australia, a lot of this goes on in the country, but I'm sure where you are, we can all relate to this kind of analogy, because this is what it's saying. If you keep nipping on their heels, you keep just having that vibration around them, eventually they're going to have to move into a different direction. Now, that's the analogy that they're giving me around this mass psychosis, because they've all been sort of over here herded, watching social media, watching mainstream media, watching TV, getting their information from all the fact-checked channels and Facebook and you name it. And then over here are these cattle dogs that are kind of nipping. We're not their enemy. We're actually helping to guide them. So we're still there kind of nipping on their heels, jumping on their backs, barking, sending out the messages. And this is what you've got to kind of take from this, is that it is by having our voices, that barking, that vibration, and it's by nipping at their heels, planting little seeds on there, commenting tiny little things. We know we can't bombard them. They'll never ever get it, and they'll go straight back to the psychosis. So this is what the guides are saying. You have to act like that cattle dog rounding up the sheep, in order to guide them somewhere else, you've got to have that loud vibrational kind of bark, which is the not loud, but the messages that you're sending out have a vibration with them because it comes with your energy. And I have videos on that about how we have energy behind our words. So it's when you're giving them the energy, send them that kindness and send them that vibration of waking up. And the other thing is just to like be around them and not pushing into them, because that can also be overwhelming. So that's about not pushing your mindset and your views onto other people. Just dropping those very subtle hints, and that's how you guide things. I think cattle are the same. They talk about cattle are quite a sensitive animal, and they relate a lot of cattle to children like with autism. There's a lot of connections there with their sensitivities. So cattle can also be guided very gently. I know in most sort of, if you think of outback properties or any of these big cattle stations and different things, a lot of them, when they're guiding, and you'll see it on TV shows like Yellowstone that I watch on Netflix, but you'll see sometimes they'll just use their arms and they guide cattle with their arms because it's about energy. So they sort of do this, and you'll see that the energy pushes the cattle. So this is what we've got to use. We've got to focus back on. That's why I talk so much about staying strong in your own power and strength. I'm actually going back to the gym today. I haven't been for like over a year because of the green passes. I wasn't able to go. So I'm going to try and get myself stronger, and that's an example of that. And this is what you guys have to do out there. You have to keep yourself strong. You have to eat really well. You have to stay really good and clear in your mind, because these are the ways that we have better energy, and we're able to create these I call them like the push movements that can push people into that right direction of sort of waking up, because I still believe this is the Great Awakening, and this is a process. It's not something that can just happen overnight. I even get confused sometimes myself. Like, I often think, is the reset there to wake people up, or is the reset actually happening? Like, this is where you get that false illusion. Even I do as a psychic. I get myself sometimes very muddled up in because none of this seems even real. And I'm sure out there, if you're watching this video, you're probably sitting in your lounge room or wherever you're sitting going, is this even real? Is this even happening? Has this been all in my imagination? But I'm here to tell you, it is real and it is happening, and man, is it confusing and overwhelming. So look, you're not alone out there, I'm sure. Comment down below. Let me know how you're feeling at the current moment in these energies, but it is just really bizarre, I have to say. Oh, so this is what we're kind of going through at the moment. We're having to really use our energy and be that cattle dog, and we can bring kindness, love and strength with that as well. It doesn't have to be all bark and bite and all anger and aggressive. We can just use our energy to help to wake people up. And I really believe that's the only way that it's going to happen, because we know that the media and we know government isn't going to do it. So we have to kind of keep, like I said, planting the little seeds, and the little seeds will grow. But think of that cattle dog analogy. Maybe do a YouTube clip on it and watch what the cattle dogs do when they're rounding up the sheep. They will nip at the heels of these sheep and the things like this. But I'm not saying to bite people or anything like that. I just mean use your energy, like with the cattle. Just, we've got to herd these people. Ooh, and it'll probably be one by one. I don't think we can do it en masse. Is into a different direction, and that's how we sort of cut through the mass psychosis. We just keep kind of breaking through. It's showing me like a film, like a layer of, if you think of like a big giant bubble, you've got to break that membrane, and that's sort of, it's like a layer of thin skin on the bubble, and you've got to sort of pop it and break through it in order to reach that person, because it's almost like a bubble dome around them that's got them stuck in the mass psychosis, and we have to kind of find a way to pop it so that they get the information. So they're just a few little analogies today to help with this insane mass psychosis that is still going on over here. And I said that they were going to refeed all these people this repetitive information again, and of course they've gone straight back into the narrative. But I think what's really strange, and I don't know if you guys have noticed it too, when you do listen to people talking about it that are in the narrative of the Kool-Aid, the conversation is very casual. It's like, oh, I've got COVID, I knew I wouldn't miss out. And it's not like they're dying on their hospital bed. They talk a little bit about some, I hope I don't get complications. But it's almost like they're talking like it's the flu. Oh, well, I had to get it, you know. And then everybody else is popping up saying, yeah, I had it the other week. My whole family had it. They're more worried about the isolation period than they are about how sick they are, because they're really not that sick. As we know, a lot of the people that were reported on had a lot of underlying health issues. So we know that the numbers have been skewed. But the way that they're talking about it, a lot of these people, the ones I know, they're just talking about it like it's a flu, and they're very nonchalant about it, and yet they still keep getting jabbed and getting boosted. And this is where the logical common sense just isn't there. It's just none of it's making any sense. So, oh gosh, I'm just finding that part really frustrating. Let me know if you are too, because I'm just really getting exhausted from this at the moment. I'm finding it very, very draining. Just watching this all play out over here and the way people are carrying on. It's totally out of balance. I'll see what else comes up today. Sorry, I've gone off on a tangent there. So we really have to heal. So we have to heal any of our past hurts as well, our pains, any of our genuine kind of fears. So if you've still got fears in you, and I think maybe that's what's happening with me, and I don't know if it's happening with you guys too, I think I have a fear that they're not going to ever wake up, and that's a very real fear to me, and I'm just being very vulnerable here. But I said to my husband last night, how are they ever going to see these truths? And will they ever see these truths? Now, I believe that they will, deep down, but I still have fears as well around, why aren't they waking up? I know I start to get a bit panicky about it, because I know that they've got such high numbers, that I know for you guys living out there in sort of Canada, Germany, and some of these countries, that's a very frightening aspect. When we think back to the Jews in Germany, for example, that's something that always comes to mind, is when they use that sort of mass psychosis on these people. And I'm not saying that to scare people, I'm just saying as an extreme example, it was very damaging to that society. And I think this is what we're kind of currently going through. I do get a lot of that real fear, but this is why and I'll get back to it, is the fight is for the brave. I've said that about Canada. Those truckers were so brave, and anyone who is standing up to tyranny and to these dictatorships, you are brave. So you have to know in your heart of hearts that you are standing up and you are doing the right things. You're doing the right thing for you. You're doing the right thing for the people that you're trying to support, and you're also doing the right thing for the people who are asleep in their coma over here. We're trying to wake them up to the realities of being lied to, because otherwise they're going to move forward and they're going to be living in constant fear, anxiety, lies, and that's their future, and that will become our future as well. So they're not even aware that by complying, getting continuous jabs, they are taking everybody's freedom away. They're taking not only their own, which they're caught up in, but they're also taking our freedoms away from us, because slowly things start to slip away. So that's why these freedom fights, these people who are standing up, the unjabbed, the vaccine injured, the people who are fighting back against tyranny, that takes strength and that takes real power. And you have to know inside of you that you are very brave. And that's why I say that you guys help me a lot, because I get very lost on my journey as well. And it can be very overwhelming at times when you're sort of sitting in your house thinking, where did my life go? And how did we get here? So I thank you for your support as well. And that's why I love you guys chatting below, because we've all got each other's back. And that's what we're here for. We're here to stay strong, to be brave, to find that real inner core strength now. And we've got to find ways to release that fear, because I know, because I've felt it as well, that fear bubbles up in us sometimes, and it starts to become a bit scary and a bit frightening as to where we're headed. And that's why I think we've got to always look for that hope and that little bit of light in that darkness, and know that there's still hope out there. And that's why I get those visions of the window of opportunity. We've still got plenty of time. We've still got windows of opportunity to fight back. Yes, this is on a global scale, I understand that, but we can make a difference. Even as little people, we can make a difference in this world, and I think we know that we already have made a difference. When I talked about my blob video the other day, go and check that out if you haven't seen it. This blob is growing and growing and growing and growing, and the thing is, it's like this big sticky blob where we all stick together, and that's what creates the movement. Like I said yesterday, we've pushed back the leaders in this reset agenda and that a lot, and they weren't expecting it. So they're having to kind of pull the reins in, bring up the new fake normal so everything seems normal, so people kind of feel a lot better, like everything's going in the right direction, when we really know it's not going in the right direction, it's going in their direction. But we've still created this mass movement, and I want to leave you with that today. I want you to take that as your inner strength, your bravery, and your spirit is strong, and that we're here to make this difference, and we've got this. We can do it. Like I say a lot, sometimes positive things come from negative experiences. And if you look back at your life and any of the challenges or the really hard times that you might have been through, which could be quite traumatic for a lot of people, sometimes you look back and you think, wow, going through that experience was so horrific at the time, or terrible and destructive to me, but look how much I've evolved, and look who I've turned into. I'm a completely different person to who I was back then. And I think most of us could probably look back and say that we sort of gain wisdom from our negative experiences. It's just the way that it is. I can't explain it, but we become a lot stronger by the experiences that we've had. So look, I'll leave you with that today. Stay brave, keep fighting, keep standing up. We can do this. There's always light in that darkness, and I know we go through our little hiccups and hurdles. Like I said, I have been at the moment. I felt like the mass psychosis was just getting so overwhelming. How would we ever interrupt it? But there's always ways. So now go and check out a video of the cattle dog rounding up the sheep, and the people moving the cows, because I think you'll see that this is about vibration. It's about the energy that you're emitting, and it's about your mindset and where you're wanting things to go. Keep guiding things in that direction. So look, thanks for watching today. Please leave me comments. Love hearing from you guys. You know that I do. I've got so many people that watch from around the world in all different countries. Canada, New Zealand, Finland, Iceland, hi out there. UK, England, America, Canada. I love you guys. You guys really rock. You made a lot of us really open our eyes and really stand up to this tyranny. So shout out to Canada and the truckers. Please hit those like buttons. Subscribe if you haven't, of course, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye from Australia. See you.